Well, good morning everyone. 1st of October, who would have thought it? It's just absolutely flown by this year. In the garden at the moment, not quite made it to the allotment yet. It's only 8 o'clock, otherwise overcast day. Yeah, it is that time to turn the camera around and have a little look as to what is happening. So, let's go. Okay, biggest changes are going to be start a clear out. So that is the containers that had the cucumbers in. There's still plenty of colour coming on, but I've started having a clear out yesterday, well during the week actually, but a bit more yesterday, of the greenhouse. So you can see chili peppers are doing their thing. Picked a load of chili peppers this week for an RHS show. A few bits coming on and doing their thing. So stevias are still okay. Lemongrass, gave away the others, but kept hold of one. Just need it to bulk up a little bit, to be honest. Got the smaller ginger plants there, smaller turmeric there. Let's move this. So that's the main ginger within that tub. There's Solanum quintoriensis or Narangilla, full of flower, but sadly it's not going to be the right temperatures now or the quantity of bees to pollinate that. I got rid of the other one. Avocado plant there, and alongside is the mango. Some more chilies there, and let's go and have a look. So hardly any tomato plants remain now. Basically, as they ripen and we harvest them, the plant goes. Even the grafted has gone. So here, let's step back. Amongst the spider webs, we've got the Christmas potatoes, all doing nicely, so 10 tubs of those. Last of the peppers and chili peppers. These have grown well and thickened up nicely, so these are the papaya plants. So I'd like to think that they'll do something next year. Within the cold frame, still got a good crop of basil, so that's made its way into multiple salads and soups. Then the walking onions, they've all popped up, doing really well. They need to come out, to be honest, and harden up. Perennial kales, and then they are the red cabbage. So again, they've done well. Wasn't quite ready for planting those out, probably still not. So that's why they're in there, but at least I've got them. That's the main thing. I suppose we could go and have a quick look at the other couple of bits. So I'm just heading into the house. We've got the verbena there, lemon verbena. That's looking good, and that is the turmeric there. So next stop will have to be at the allotment. Okay, at the allotment, it's a little bit warmer up here than it was at home. Nearly cleared the manure, so that's, well, tidies it up a little bit. Perennial bed, rhubarb, it's actually sprouting again. And look, that's more important, is the artichoke, globe artichoke, has also put on some good leaves. It looked like it had died. That said, I am in two minds as to whether to keep this bed in its current format or not. So we shall see. Might have another move in them. So as I said at the start of the video, 1st of October now, so biggest differences are the amount of things that aren't here and kind of what we're left with. So all the butternut squash, all harvested and lifted to cure. This here is what was hidden for most of the year by the squash, and that's actually sweet potatoes, and as you can see they sort of sprawled out quite well. Not sure how much of a crop's actually going to be there, because there's not a lot of soil in this bed, or virtually nothing other than the bit of compost that I mounded around each plant. So yeah, we'll have to see on that one. Dahlias kind of really get into the end of life on a lot of them. Also deciding which ones that I'm not going to bother growing next year. So things like one-eyed Jill, which is this one here, and that it's just not performed particularly well. The flower's been too small, it's not been particularly strong, so cut that down. I won't be growing that, so that would get rid of that variety. And likewise, although it's lovely to look at, it's just a right pain in the backside really to keep on top of, and unless you're showing it, it has no real interest. Trying to think, because the name's escaped me. Oh, it's Hallmark, that's right. So Hallmark, yeah, so I'm going to be cutting down Hallmark, get a shot of that. The others will be staying, one form or another, but I'm going to space them much better next year and do them better. Next year's going to be a proper year, I think, of trying to do dahlias properly. Still sitting on the fence as to whether I'm going to bother doing the giants next year, whether to just keep one of each growing at home just for the rootstock. I don't know, but then yeah, have to see. Again, this bed here, pumpkins have gone for the time being. I've just stuck the brassica cages over here, just for somewhere to put them, to be honest. This section here, let me take a step back. So this I did as another quick bed. I mean, to be honest, this whole back section was just really knocked together quite quickly, because it was getting to that point I needed to get the planting done and I didn't have the space to do it. So this bed actually needs reworking. So this front and back section are going to come off, and then I'm going to put in some 1.2 metre sections front and back, and basically replicate these normal widths. So that'll go straight across, followed by a pathway, and then create another bed here, followed by a pathway. So that's the plan. Only really needs that little bit digging out, and that will just go into the bed as and when. Oh, again, yeah, the bean and pea support, that's all gone as well. So yeah, again, there's no point harbouring or hanging on to the things that are going to be moved anyway. So yeah, that's gone. Oh, look at that. Caterpillar trying to climb its way up. I was up here for a bit Friday, or Thursday, Friday, to do some cutting bits and pieces, sorting bits and pieces out for the RHS fruit and veg show, their autumn show. And so yeah, had a bit of a tidy in the strawberry bed, cut out all the dead, and where I had a few plants that had died off in the middles there, I've just used the runners to come across and to fill in the gaps. So that's another job ticked off. At some point just need to put the cover over. Disappointingly, the chrysanthemums looking absolutely awful. They were no good for the show at all, but certainly most of them, as you can see, absolutely full of rust. This variety, which I'm not sure what, that's probably, let's have a look, I'm just guessing, let's have a look. Oh, primrose. So primrose, the strongest of the Eloise varieties, is the only one that hasn't flowered as yet. So yeah, got 3 colours full of rust, so they were no good. Primrose, not got flower. Yellow, I managed to get a few flowers from. White, again you can see full of rust. Winter one, obviously too early on. Hedden, got some flowers from, and John Hopkin, as you can see, no flowers as yet. So it really sort of highlights to me that this bed has been a waste of time for what I'm wanting it for, which was essentially cut flower. So for next year, I'm just going to do a small offering, and there being one of those smaller beds, mine made up. I might turn this over to another dahlia. Here, still got carrots, which have been doing well. Let's grab one out. See what we get. Oh, that looks a decent-ish stem. If I can pull it, that is. There we are. Little 2 forks jobby, but nevertheless, 3 forks. But they've been decent size, so I'm pleased with that. Foliage is always nice for the guinea pigs as well. So that's a carrot left. All the beetroot's gone, other than this giant being, which I'm going to lift probably today, get a shot of that. Turnips, well, it was the last time of trying them, and barring a couple, waste of time, so I'm not going to be growing turnips anymore. Last of the celery, so yeah, I've had 12 out of this section. I had plans to show them. I pulled 4 on the Friday morning, wasn't happy with them, didn't bother showing, and as it happened, having seen the competition yesterday, I think I would have won, but you know, live and learn. See, that one's got aphid on it, that needs to come. Welsh onions, first year of those up at the plot, starting from seed again. So yeah, not done anything with them, not cut them or anything like that. I'm just leaving them as they are, so then they can get some strength in them, and they'll be great for next year. Did a sowing in here of pak choi, which has amounted to one that's been chewed to nothing, and a tiny bit that's left. There might be a couple of seedlings left at the back, so pointless. Radishes, final sowing of them, they've been good. I've had quite a few of them, so they're nice. But yeah, it's just trying to sneak in those last crops if you can do. And so the seed of that only went in start of September. This bed here, so this was where the courgettes and corn, summer squash were. So essentially what I've done, which is what I always do, start at one end, so in this case this end. I dig out a section, so normally sort of about 2 foot wide ish, or 2 fork widths. Dig out the soil, just chuck it to one side on your first lot, or stick it in a barrow. Then I fill with some manure or some good green waste. So as I say, in this case it's the manure. So fill it up a fair way, and then as you work your way back, I know this is a bit of to and fro-ing, I then dig the next block of soil onto that to give me my gap, fill that with the manure, and work my way along until I've done that. And so what's left, probably for today, to be honest, after I've done the video, is just to level this across, and by doing that, that's just enabling me to build up this height at a relatively quick rate to get to the tops. And considering, well, I didn't have that much soil, you can see, looking at this bed, you know, it's sort of a half full jobbing, if that. And so this will get the height up quite nicely. And I know I've skipped a bed, but done the same on that already, did the same on that already before the chilies went in. So it brings the height right up, and before these are planted out, they'll be done again. Back to here, so took the brassica frame cage off, really because most of the cabbage white butterflies have gone now, which is fine, so they're not going to cause too much of an issue in terms of laying eggs and producing caterpillar. But what I was finding was that because essentially these were stopping everything, they were creating a really closed environment, and you can probably still see it when I do that, amount of cabbage whitefly on there. Well, there was, there must have been hundreds of thousands, and so when I lifted them off, it was literally just like a cloud of the whitefly coming off. So yeah, made the decision to take that off, and hopefully you get a few ladybirds or decent predators in there to take out some of that whitefly. But anyway, Brussels sprouts looking decent, not as good as last year, I've got to confess. I'm really hoping they put some growth on, but it just doesn't look like it. Looks like they're just a little bit stunted, to be honest. And I think that's probably because they're not in a lot of soil. But what I have done is I've mulched around the trunks, the base trunks, with some manure, just to help earth up in a way, to stabilise those stems. Normally I'd cane them, but in all honesty, other than that one, they're not big enough to warrant it. The rainbow chard is looking really good. We've had quite a few pickings of that. Again, like with everything else, I don't cut the plant down when we want to use it. Literally just go along, you snap off. Yeah, I know that's a not very good leaf, but just go along, just snap your lower leaves off, and then you've got your stem and your leaf to use. You're not sacrificing the whole plant. Same with the kale Cavallonero. You can see where we've picked our way up. Still plenty of growth in that. Yeah, it's got a bit of cabbage damage, caterpillar damage, but it'll be all right. Perpetual spinach. Not done a lot with that, I've got to confess, but we will be soon. And then this is the purple sprouting broccoli. This has taken a bit of caterpillar damage to it, but yeah, they're good size, so they should start producing the sprouts fairly soon, and with any luck that go through the winter. Let me just walk around this way again. I suppose the biggest thing I need to do is have a good old tidy up. So this bed here has been prepped up because this had the main crop potato, so it's been prepped up to here, and all I've done for the time being, I just stuck this manure over the top as much as anything to suppress any weeds germination in that. When I come to doing the planting, so this will either be onions or garlic in this bed, then I'll just pull this lot off, do my planting, and then put it back on as a cover over the top. Here are the leeks. They're absolutely massive. Can't get over with how good they are this year. They're just going to have to stay in, and yeah, hope they make something for next. Jerusalem artichoke, you can see it's now starting to develop its powdery mildew, so this is going to be cut back pretty soon. And I'm thinking for next year, I'm going to move it. Well, I'm definitely moving it. My original thought was it was going to go in the perennial bed. However, what I'm thinking now is, and you can see what the height should have been. That stem's just going to break. What I'm thinking for next year is that I might actually plant it across the back there, make a little bed up, plant it across the back, and use it as a bit of a flowering screen or hedge. You know, you could tie it to the fence, but I think that'll look quite nice, especially if I get round this way and you see the mass of flowers. You know, who wouldn't want to look at that? And then last but not least, this bed. So here I've got the Egyptian walking onions. They're in here at the moment. They will be moved. Not quite sure where to move them to, but they're going to be moved. Chilies, again, had been sort of quite negative on the chilies, but actually they've come good. We've had a few different ones. Annoyingly, well, I took some of these jalapeno cross tigers to the veg show. They placed nowhere. I think, and talking to another grower shower, I think, to be honest, it's because they don't know, the judges just don't know how to judge them, and they're used to just looking at red chilies. We also took some of these Peruvian lemon drops. Again, didn't place anywhere, so that was rather annoying. And we took one other which did place, so that was okay, happy with that. Mushroom reds, it's going to be a lean year on them, but hopefully we get something. Ucholoki, I said it last time, I think last year of bothering with those. Well, something's had that, but might as well leave that for the slugs. Vampires, now these have been really nice, good flavour to them. You see it's just going from its black to red as it ripens through. These have been pointless, not formed as they should have. Again, you can see these are, well, that one's no good. These are mushroom red, so there's a bit of colour coming into there. Actually, I say that's because that's got damaged as well, so something's been through there and damaged them. I don't know what, that's a shame. And Carolina Reaper, again, talking to the same show guy yesterday, yeah, he's not going to bother growing them either, so that's takes care of a few varieties. But yeah, essentially that's how things are looking for the 1st of October. So it just occurred to me that well, I didn't actually show you some of the crops that I've lifted. Obviously pumpkin, hopefully going to ripen in the sun, we should see. Got that old thing there. Took pumpkin to the show, but I've got these ones here which are looking all right. Let's just get that off there. They are the zero potatoes, which I think I showed in the last one, but sort of working through the odd one, but they're not the best. Won't be growing them again. Obviously the winter squash, so Turk's turban again is some gone to the show, and Yuki Curies, and then the butternuts. So butternut squash there, looking good. Took the biggest one to the show. Disappointingly it didn't win, but don't really know why, because it had a perfect shape to it, but there you have it. So anyway, let's get myself back out of there. That's the harvest. So that's it, 1st of October video done. walk around the house and the allotment. Obviously it's that time of year now, certainly within the UK, where it's more thinking about what to do for next year, tidying up your last few bits and pieces, and say organising yourself for your winter jobs. And certainly with things like the dahlias and the Jerusalem artichoke, you know, what are you going to do with the plants, with the roots over winter, and for next year, what your plan's going to be, what's going to go in your different beds. You know, are things going to stay the same? Well, they're not. You know, your varieties might stay the same, but you've got to think about rotation of crops, rotation of your beds. So yeah, your garlic and onions can't be in the same beds as they were this year. Same with your potatoes, ideally same with your brassicas. And you want to just try and think about how you can rotate those so that they're not going to be in the same beds for the next sort of 2 to 3 years. Well, it takes a little bit of planning, doesn't it? So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing for the next few days anyway, is have a look. Likewise, take the opportunity to have a look in some of those seed catalogues that are coming through your door. Look on web shops. Obviously be mindful that some shops are better than others, some growers are better than others. You know, if like me, you know, you tend to do a lot of your shopping via eBay or Amazon, well, that's great for most things. Not the most reliable for seeds and bulbs. So have a think about that, you know, trying to find some reputable suppliers. Have a look in your garden centres. Ask other allotmenteers, people in the garden centres themselves, recommendations on a particular dahlia, runner bean, pea, whatever it happens to be. If you're thinking of showing, think of, you know, what you can do differently, or varieties that you could do instead. So plenty to do, plenty to think about, but as I always say, you do need to enjoy what you're doing. So until next time, have fun and take care. Bye for now.